Listen, wife's going out tonight. I'm going to have the guys over. We're going to watch the fish on the big screen. I'm going to grill up some brats. I got a micro brew chilling in my wet bar, and I was going to warm up some ziti. Why don't you come by if you got some triple fried pizza dough or some kind of frozen meatballs or whatever it is. You can warm it up in my microwave, or you can warm it up back at home. Bring it over pipe and hop, and if you want to bring over a vegetable medley, a crudité, figure out how much lunch meat you can spare. Maybe bring over 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of Black Forest ham, maybe a Dijon mustard spread, any kind of dessert, maybe a German chocolate cake or something like that. I tell you what would make you a big hit with the dudes is get some key lime pie, a la mode. I'm talking about ice cream on the side.
Right.
And you have got to have a bite of my homemade ziti. I'm just going to warm her up. She's been in the freeze.
Thanks for the invite, but...
You know, I love her, those hot mozzarella sticks. Cube them up, put them in some marinara sauce. You have them on standby. Of course, you can't go wrong with some sour cream and onion so long as you bring ridged chips.
Yeah.
TBTL.
Okay, T-Bone. Time for some serious crunching.
I've only ever said I love you to 2 men my entire life. Stone Cold Steve Austin and a guy in a dark club who I mistook for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the Charleston Town Center Mall, and I think I'm the first one in this bathroom this morning. It's perfectly clean.
So look, why don't you download my blog? It's free. Of course, we do appreciate donations.
Anybody know what this is? Huh? All of this is the digestive system. And now we're going to have a couple of guys who's going to give us a presentation about what happens when the digestive system isn't working properly.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Monday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
I can't believe you're still on the air.
My name is Luke Burbank. I am your host. It is...
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Memorial Day, my friends, as I join you from the Madrona Hill studio where we're experiencing a rain squall.
You know you like to get wet, though.
How rude here on this Memorial Day for it to rain. This is lousy. Of course, we are here working because we like to produce and provide you with piping hot, fresh podcast content 5 days a week. It's not 365 days a year because we do take weekends off, but however many days of the week there are, that's how many TBTLs there are for you each year, brand new to listen to. And here we find ourselves at episode 4,473 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
And of course, we have to record a new show today because we've got an update on the TBTL Junior Sluggers, your Junior Sluggers.
Kids and fantasy.
Who have been tearing it up there in the Parkside Little League of East Portland. Also, we have a special friend who is apparently going to stop by the program today.
This is special. This is special.
Our buddy Camaro Kev from the Stack of Dimes podcast, and You Blew It, is passing through the region. And I said, hey, it's a holiday. We're going to have kind of a free-form, jazzy show. Why don't you pop in? And he said, sure. And he ensured it being freeform and jazzy by getting here roughly 1/2 hour late. So he's going to just show up when he shows up, and we're going to hand him some headphones, and we're going to see how this all goes. We will be sharing a microphone, which has to do with my limited technical abilities here in the Madrona Hill studio. Well, hopefully that will all work. And then, of course, we're going to talk to this guy. He is the longest-running Cobro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. He's coming off of an absolute scorching performance at Whirleyball yesterday.
You play to win the game.
I tried to get some much-needed professional consultation from him, and he said, I can't. And he sent me a picture of a Whirleyball court. He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
I'll ask you what I asked you via text from the scene of the excitement yesterday, Luke. How is Whirleyball so fun? We've talked about it on the show before. We went down a little memory lane on Friday. You know, you introduced me to Whirleyball. I believe I played twice in my life, maybe 3 times. I think you were there for all, if not most of them.
And those would also be the only times I've played. I knew of it just from the sign off of Aurora Avenue, but I had no history.
What a sign. I mean, from the sign. Even the sign is beautiful.
It starts with the sign.
It really is.
If only we had a song about signs that I could play.
Huh, interesting. Maybe we could produce something and punch it in and post. But honestly, so I knew it was fun. I have very fond memories of playing, but this is a true story. It'd be weird if it wasn't. I mentioned to you the reason we played Whirleyball yesterday is a friend of ours, or a couple of friends of ours, I should say, got married. Very low-key private ceremony that they did, I believe on kayaks, in fact. And then they were just gathering all of their friends at this Whirleyball place in Edmonds. And again, we described this like kind of like it's like you're on a court, you're playing kind of like basketball and badminton at the same time, only you're in bumper cars. Yeah, and you're bumping around, and it's so much fun.
That's why it's so fun, because this is not a game that is defined by if you can run faster than someone else or jump higher. You get all the fun of flying around a court, but it's obviously like everyone can have the same amount of fun.
Exactly, and also, yet as I said several times, somehow it was still more exercise than I've gotten in a long time. I'm like,
I can see that you're shifting around in that
running
seat,
around. I'm just
torquing,
like, and you're getting
flipping.
You're getting so excited, you get so into it. But the truth is, when we showed up, like, these friends of ours are dear friends, but we don't really know the rest of their crew, right? Like, we knew them as neighbors back in Wallingford, and this was a gathering of a bunch of people that they knew throughout their life and their various jobs and travels or whatever, and we knew nobody but the bride and groom, and that's why...
This was the guy that yelled at you about the parking, right? You guys eventually became good friends?
Right, exactly. And it's funny that he asked me to be his best man. No. This is my buddy Mike, who lived above us, and we became kind of fast friends there in Wallingford. And it was kind of, I want to reflect on something, but it's not interesting to the audience, but it's kind of sweet that I knew Mike before he met Nina, and now they got married like maybe 8 years later. And I feel like as I get older, I don't know if this math's out, but as I get older, I feel like there's fewer situations like that, sort of, where you know somebody as a single person and then they get together. I don't know. It's just very, very sweet.
That makes sense.
And you know what? They don't listen to this show, so I'm not saying this for them, but I also just had a thought as I was leaving. I do want to come back to Whirleyball in a second, but getting to know their friends even before the activity started. And I do think that there's something about having an activity that does bond people. But even before that, it was so easy to make small talk with everybody there as more and more people are sort of crowding into the waiting area, and we're waiting for the fun to begin. I can be awkward. I know you say I'm not, but I can be awkward. I find conversations awkward, and if I meet somebody who isn't giving me a lot conversationally, I feel like it can get really awkward really quickly. And everybody was so just an easy breezy small talk conversation. And I think small talk is more difficult than maybe it's cracked up to be sometimes. And I just think it's a real reflection of the people who are at the heart of a friend group like that, when all of their, and I was just thinking about that on the way home, and it sounds corny, like I'm giving them a toast now, but I promise you, they shall not hear this. I'll cut this out of the show if I must.
We actually broadcast at a frequency that Mike and Nina are unable to hear due to ear injury years ago.
So I was just like kind of appreciative of the group of friends that they had there. But here's my broader point. It was a really big group. We knew there was like 40 or 50 people were packing in there to play Whirleyball. So I said to Viv several times, like, I'm just happy to be there. Like, if I don't even get into one of the bumper cars and like everybody else just gets a turn, that's fine. I can hang out, and like they have a Until You Win candy crane machine. Like, I mean, there are things to keep me occupied in this place.
Sure.
But then we go in there. They give a little like kind of instructional talk about how to play Whirleyball or whatever. Because if you haven't
and were you
before,
basically like me when they try to explain the food at Dintai?
I was like, it's not my
You're
first
like, save
review.
it,
yes.
sucker.
But no, they do a pretty good. I feel like I'm my dad. Those kids do a pretty good job of making it entertaining as they kind of explain the ins and outs of how these little carts work and everything. But point is, at the very, they're like, okay, now we have two courts reserved. Basically, the whole place reserved for this place. So, anybody who wants to play, go ahead and play. And so I kind of stand back. I make sure that there's, everybody's getting a turn. But it looked like there's one extra car for the first game. So I'm like, okay, I'll play. So I get in there. And then the second that first game is over, I'm like, how do I play every single game? It was so addictive.
All of your chill.
Oh God, if I ever even had chill. But I truly was like, I'm happy just to hang out in this sort of fun place lobby. But the second I start playing Whirleyball, it's just like you have to drag me out of that Whirleyball car. I was just so in my element. Like during the 10-minute matches, you forget everything, Luke. I mean, Obama could still be in office. Who knows? Like,
this is why you needed this.
It's true. Like, I think this is the first time I've truly not had any intrusive thoughts about the state of the world or the state of my
You're so focused
hairline
on the task at hand.
in a long time. Just like 10 minutes of pure joy where the rest of the world just disappears. I cannot say enough great things about Whirleyball.
Yeah, I was, I don't want to promise anything, and also you didn't respond to this specifically, but I could see a world in which some sort of a TBTL Whirleyball crossover event would be a pretty fun thing. That's not me saying.
I gave it a thumbs up. I gave it a
thumbs.
Oh, you did?
Okay.
I did, yeah. Vives and I were even scheming in the way home. Like, is there a way to do that? It's a pretty small space, but we were scheming and dreaming, though.
It's a hot zip for us, too, so
yeah.
I have a feeling that the turnout would be fairly high on that. But Whirleyball is a true joy that I need to get back to.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, I've only done it a couple of times in my life. Maybe next time I'm in the Chicagoland area. Oh, by the way, to clarify that, I think I misstated. I said there's only 2 places, and it's Seattle and Chicago, and that's totally untrue. It's in various places. Some places it had been there, and then it sort of moved, but it's it might be in your town. Don't lose heart if you're not in Chicago or Seattle. You may have Whirleyball near you.
Yeah, I was learning that too because I remember there was one in is it Roslyn, Georgia, or somewhere kind of nearish Atlanta, and that one closed. But as I was looking around, I'm like, oh, a friend of mine said that her mom got married at a Whirleyball in the Cleveland area, and I'm like, I had no idea there was one even in the Cleveland area. So yeah, these
Who
things
knew
are
that there was so
up.
much matrimonial bliss going on,
right?
Related to the Whirleyball process. Hey, Andrew,
yeah,
I have big news here.
Yeah, big news.
Joining us here in the Madrona Hill studio on this shared microphone experience is our dear friend.
Well, look who's back.
From the Stack of Dimes podcast, and You Blew It. It's our buddy Camaro Kev. Hey, dude.
Hey, guys. How's it going? What'd I miss?
Just Andrew absolutely dominating at Whirleyball over the weekend.
Oh.
I didn't. First of all, I
I
love this Soggy Bottom Boys bit that you guys are doing with this shared microphone. It's really nice.
I'm thinking more like an 80s hair band where we've got to sing back to back.
Yes, I love that. Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
Here's just the quick story on this is yesterday afternoon, Camaro Kev and I were texting, and he was going to be passing through. I said, hey, you should come on the show. And that was before I asked myself the question, can I hook up 2 microphones in this room? Now, I should be able to, except as you'll notice, Kevin, I don't have a mixing board anymore. I mean, I do have one, but it is so frequently the case that it's just me here. Or if we have a guest, they're on this system that we use now. Or if we did the thon from here, but Andrew set it all up with his fancy gear. So I realized yesterday that I have now become incapable of resetting up my mixing board in any capacity, and the only thing that was going to be doable was for us to just get real up close and personal on this mic. I hope you're okay with that.
So I get to be Michael Anthony, and you're Sammy Hagar, I guess?
I don't get to be DLR.
Yeah, I mean, you're more of a Sammy guy.
Oh, ow. Okay,
Wow.
you can just keep moving up I-5, dude. What was the
not bad.
No, what was the David Lee Roth performance that Roden sent around the other day? Texted us. What was going on with that? Where? Do you know that performance that he was doing? Somebody said it was like a cover band covering Van Halen.
That was he had a moment where there was a bluegrass Van Halen album. So I think it was a bunch of bluegrass artists doing Van Halen hits, and he joined them just to do Jump Live bluegrass one time.
Was it called Pickin' on Van Halen? There's a whole Pickin' on series. I don't know if you guys know about this.
Maybe. I don't know.
Am I able to ask you, Camaro, after the break, because we'll thank some donors, we're going to give an update on our baseball team, the Junior Sluggers. I know you were at your nephew's baseball tournament this weekend, but I also know that you were out and about somewhat in Vancouver, Washington, and I want to hear about this bar rescue situation. Are you authorized to speak on this?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure
Okay, let's thank some donors, and then we'll get into that.
We was hoping for some razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle.
That's right, man, razzle-dazzle.
On your mark. On your mark. Get set. Get set. Now ready. Ready. Go. Everybody razzle dazzle.
All right, let's thank some dazzling donors. The podcasting never stops around here, even on Memorial Day. And it's because, of course, the donations, thankfully, have also not stopped. They keep coming in, and it makes it so we can do this for our job. Thanks to a dazzling donor, Danielle Greenewalt, today out there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hey, you have some connections to Philly.
I do.
I don't know about
I
if you
do.
have
And
connections to
one of my
Danielle.
direct connections, my mother, Susie, was here the last couple of days. And it was a great time. I love my mother. I love hanging out with my mother. I feel like our relationship has actually deepened over the years and into adulthood, which is a really nice feeling. It brings me no closer to understanding her food decisions and the food that she brings to my house when she's going to be here for a couple of days. My dad does as well, but what my dad just brings is like some kind of off-brand Cheetos, some Vienna fingers, and some unsweetened applesauce, just whatever he can grab from the house. But then my mom shows up and it's like a second wave. It's like Omaha Beach, and you had the people getting out of going to establish the beachhead. That's what my dad does. He's jumping out of that like amphibious vehicle, hoping he survives. And then my mom comes through later with the big guns. Like I was just taking pictures of it last night to try to remember exactly what was going on. Let's see. Well, this is just some Winco Foods salsa con queso cheese dip. That's fairly normal, but let's see. There's a bunch of pictures of my parents do it here. Then you've got your unsweetened, your Indian summer unsweetened applesauce. You've got potato sticks. Have you ever seen potato sticks, Kev?
Those are like those picnic shoestring potatoes.
My mother, essentially, who is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is why this is relevant to Danielle's donation. My mother exists mostly on potato sticks, which is a wild thing for like a 71-year-old woman. But like when you go to their house, there are potato sticks everywhere. It's one of her. My mother also brought a half of a bowl of salad. Yeah. This is a thing that my parents do. If they're somewhere like their house or my house and they eat some salad but they don't finish it, they will put saran wrap over the bowl and save this. I'll show this to you, Andrew. This wilted salad situation. Also, they're the kind of people who will put a half-consumed glass of milk back in the fridge.
Oh, sure.
Now, is that just around your house with Anita? Do you guys ever do that? No, that would not be. That wouldn't be normal. My mom also got this Aura Bora lime cardamom, zero sugar sparkling water. And I said, Mom, where did you get that? And she said, the food bank. And I said, why are you going to the food bank? She goes, they have too much stuff and they let seniors go there. And sometimes I'll pick up a soda or something. I was like, okay, well, live your life. A half of a peach pie from Safeway.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I thought that was like an empanada. Or something.
Anyway, it just keeps going. But that's all that I say. I'm deeply connected to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by way of Susie Kelly.
Can I ask you one question, though?
Yes.
Your whole description there in the sort of the waves of battle, was that purposely said today on Memorial Day, or were you just in a free-form jazz sort of mode?
I have to be honest, I was freestyling, but as so often the case, that brought us to a place of reverence.
Yeah, okay.
A place of relevance
Yes.
here on this Memorial Day.
I
Some gave
appreciate
all, some podded all podded some. Happy Memorial Day.
Indeed.
To Danielle, who says, excited for our annual TBTL Dazzling Donor Message. Shout out to our kids, Chloe and Dashel, who've spent their entire 15 and 11 years listening to TBTL with us. What up, Chloe and Dashel?
Yeah.
They're amazing kids, and we're so lucky to be their parents. Thanks to for the Philly live show and after party. Dashel has his autographed poster hanging up in his room.
That's the one that was that's not legit. That's not legit on eBay. Don't try to sell it. That's not really my signature.
Because you weren't there?
Well, no, it was somebody forged my signature. Remember?
I think, was that Sklarov?
I think Sklarov forged my. It's literally a forgery. It's literally.
I believe that my mother also. Everything goes back to Susie. I think my mom signed some posters too that night, and maybe even Dashel's.
As long as she didn't sign my name, that's okay. Anyway, enjoy Dashel.
She signed your name to some loan docs.
Oh, good.
And you're going to need to get on that quickly because the interest is building. Luke, it was fun chatting with your mom and your aunt and your cousins. I can attest that they were impressed by the community that you have built. Annual plug for my husband Chris's interior architecture firm, Bunker Workshop. Check out the website and the Insta page. It's a Bunker Workshop, Bunker Workshop.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm checking on this. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? I'm going to have to tear out my entire kitchen down in the house because this is, oh my gosh, incredible. I want to say high end, but I don't want to scare anyone off of the price point. But boy, does it ever look like this is high design. Bunker Workshop. So
beautiful.
Good stuff, Chris and Danielle. Thanks. And shout out to Chloe and Dashel. Maestro?
On your mark. Get set. Now ready. Go. Everybody razzle dazzle.
It's Jeremy Merrill in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm going to be at a truck stop not in Des Moines, but in Iowa in a couple of weeks.
Yeah?
The world's largest truck stop.
Oh.
Just because I've been trying to see more truck stops. No.
You've been trying to meet people. Get out there.
I've been trying to, get out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
Spend more time in the showers at the Love's truck stop.
I love to ask if it was a Love's.
Yeah. You're just like,
I don't
I'm
think
going to
it
be at a
has its own
truck
name.
stop in Iowa. I'm going to be at a truck stop in
Yes.
Iowa next week if anybody's
Hey, if anybody's
looking to
swinging through,
hang.
no, it has its own name. It's like a city. It has like a dentist on site. That's the whole bit.
It's not one of the ones advertising on Red Eye Radio. It was like
Greg Gutfeld.
No. There's actual. Well, let's not get into it. Overnight radio show called Red Eye Radio that replaced kind of Art Bell.
No.
Yeah, and it's live. And it's
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you telling me Coast to Coast is done?
No, it's just another option that you
Okay.
can have if you're a
Gotcha.
station that needs something live and overnights. And
Yeah.
it's called Red Eye Radio, but they exclusively, like, the advertising is specifically for truckers.
Mhm.
So you get a lot of Loves, a lot of, like, places to fix your brakes.
Flying J.
Sure, yeah.
I'm intrigued just by hearing there's a new overnight AM radio show on the landscape.
When I say new, I mean like in the last 20 years.
I've never. What's the Greg Gutfeld show? Red.
I believe it is
Red Eye or something. I would give that, as you like to say, a day in court. By the way, that's one of your most oft-cited quotes on this show, Kev, is giving something a day in court.
And swangling into a place. I would
Swangling
say.
in comes up a lot. Jeremy says, hello, my beautiful business boys. A lot has happened since I wrote my dazzling donor message last year. I quit my job. I took up recreational marijuana. Congratulations, Jeremy.
Check it off
And
the
I've
list.
aged multiple years in the 1 year that has passed. I'm assuming that's more like politics than the recreational marijuana.
Yeah, good question. But I'm
Otherwise,
guessing
it's
the
a kind of
state
a
the
strong
world.
argument against recreational ganja. My message last year inquired about the status of future TBTL road trips. I encourage you to plan a future TBTL road trip adventure. Those have been some of my favorite moments of the show. Jeremy, that's really heartening to hear because, we certainly have had fun on these adventures, but it's never quite clear to us if that's actually good podcasting or not, or if it's just fun for us, Andrew, to be in an RV lot in New Mexico listening to Mike Zanino hit a home run, as we call the Miracle Under.
That's right.
Like, we had fun that night. We went to the casino. We took a shuttle bus to the casino. That was a night. But is it good for the listeners? It sounds like Jeremy's enjoying it.
Yes, and I was trying to do a little bit of. By the way, we are almost exactly 2 weeks away from the anniversary of the Miracle on Dirt. By the way, that was that was June 7th. It falls on a Saturday this year. I don't know how you plan on celebrating. If you want to do a special podcast on Saturday, do quick dial up. I don't know. That's
absolutely
that's Saturday, June 7th. Put it on your calendar. But I guess we have been staying a little bit closer to home recently since we went independent because we didn't have travel funds or anything. But I think we're trying to cook something up this year that'll get us a little bit further away from home.
We're cooking something up, and it's not just the books.
That's right.
It's this year's TBTL-a-thon, which I'm very excited for everybody to find out about when we get closer to that. In the meantime, Jeremy says, those have been some of my favorite moments of the show. I renew my request from last year and hold out hope that the upcoming, as of this message, TBTL-a-thon will involve the business boys adventuring off to some remote location. Most importantly, I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart for the hours of escapism that you provide, especially in these trying times. Truly, what you do is so important. Never stop. I've attached a sound file of me playing piano while my son explains some Pokemon-related things to my wife in the background. I love this. Music playing while there is a quiet conversation in the background was a topic of the show for a while when Luke was really into a recent Youth Lagoon album. That is true. And by the way, Jeremy, I listened to that Youth Lagoon album while mowing the lawn yesterday, so some things never change around here. The song that I'm playing is Hymn a la Amour, the same song that Celine Dion sang at the opening of the last Olympic Games. And so, Andrew, you've got this audio. I guess we're going to go out with this today on this special Memorial Day program.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's play this. So, again, it's about a minute of Jeremy playing piano, and it's got a lot of, like, ambient noise, and like you mentioned, his kiddo kind of chatting in the background. I think you're going to like it, Luke, but let's play it at the end of the show, and we'll go out with that today.
Okay, we'll do. Jeremy, thank you so much for supporting TBTL. We truly could not do this without you.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
We have a fairly epic update on the TBTL Junior Sluggers, which If you could watch the YouTube of this, Kevin, it's still shots of like Andre Dawson and like Gorman Thomas and like various luminaries from the world of Major League Baseball circa 1987. And it just gives me life. This is from This Week in Baseball. Don't sue us, Mel Allen. Of course, the TBTL Junior Sluggers are starting to kind of, they're in the home stretch. They're wrapping up the season. They are playing on Saturday, and I'm going to that game, Andrew.
Nice.
Finally getting eyes on them. Was going to go like a couple Saturdays ago when they were rained out, which raised the question, how committed are we to this, Junior Sluggers? And I mean, we're out here buying uniforms, buying banners, giving a huge amount of attention to the team, and then we're not playing because it's a little rainy.
Can't they work something out with the city to build a dome or something?
Yeah, retractable roof. Maybe threaten East Portland that if they don't build them a stadium, they'll go to West Portland.
They hit the road. I mean, I was gonna say if they can't build a stadium with a retractable roof with our donations, like what are they doing with our money, with our sponsorship?
Yeah,
dollars,
honestly, we'll have to ask some questions. Those are off-season questions. In the meantime,
yes,
Coach
certainly.
Ben. It said on Monday, May 12th, your TBTL Junior Sluggers took the field against the Hollywood Rose City Pit Vipers. Kevin, this is what they're naming Little League teams. Were any of the teams at your nephew's tournament called the Pit Vipers?
No, there was Oswego something or other.
Oh, Lake Oswego.
Laces.
Okay.
That's my nephew's
That's
team.
good. Laces. I like that. That's actually really smart. You lace the ball, you lace up your shoes. Well, these are, let's just say, some younger players in the Little League, and I believe that the players are allowed as a team to name the team, and you get some real doozies.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game. All right, we played the Rose City Pit Vipers, still feeling the high from our second win of the season. Don't ask how many games we've had total, Kevin. No, more than two.
Oh.
Many more than two. Two of them have been wins. We came to the game with hope in our hearts and wings on our heels. So Saul, a.k.a. Big Red, stepped up on the hill for the Sluggers and did a valiant job against the formidable Pit Vipers lineup. Saul's been one of our aces all season, but sometimes even the greats struggle. The Vipers locked in early on Saul's fastball and put up 6 runs over the first 2 innings. To Saul's credit, he hung in there, riding the highs and the lows and always focusing on the next pitch. The Sluggers offense put up a single run over the first 2 innings. Atlas, also known as Slappy, got a seeing eye hit into left field and proceeded to cause chaos on the bases, stealing 3 bases over the next 5 pitches. Outside of this dazzling display of speed, the Sluggers lineup was quiet, stymied by quality Pit Viper pitching in the 3rd inning. We had one of those beautiful moments that epitomize what Little League Baseball is all about. Ollie, a.k.a. the Dude. I like how everyone got a nickname on the last 2 games of the season. These are all new nicknames to me.
I love it.
Ollie's been asking to pitch for several weeks and had been training for the opportunity, both with the team and in daily extra sessions with his dad. We finally had the chance to get him on the mound, and he was super excited to get a chance. However, as he was warming up, Ollie got a case of the nerves, and by the time the first batter stepped up to the plate, he was pulling to be removed from the game, pleading rather. As you can tell, Kevin, my printer is running out of toner, so there's a streak of non-printed letters in the paragraphs. I could just read this off the computer, but I'm old-fashioned this way. He was pleading to be removed from the game. The Sluggers immediately huddled around Ollie, encouraging him to hang in there and give it a try. Even heard one of our players repeat a Coach Ben mantra: "We're here with you. We win and lose as a team." With this reinforcement, Ollie fought through his apprehensions and gave it his all. Results aside, I'm so proud of the Dude for battling through and hanging in there and doing something difficult, even though he was scared to do it. Good job, Ollie.
Yeah, I love that.
It was like Andrew playing Whirleyball yesterday. He was scared.
That's right.
He didn't want to do it, but then he locked in.
That's right.
Shout out here to the Pit Vipers coach. All right, I'll allow it, although I feel like strike one, you let your team name themselves the Pit Vipers. When she saw we had a young, struggling pitcher, she encouraged her players to swing at anything close to the plate. That is actually pretty sweet. That's what Dan Wilson has been doing recently with the Mariners, Houston, and it's rough. It's rough out there. Although we did get a heap and help in a Garv sauce yesterday, Andrew, which is
I missed it, but I saw the
rarely
text
get
messages.
to say that unironically. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mitch Garver. Since I give the guy grief when he's down, I got to give him credit when he does hit a 2-out double in the first inning. The Pit Viper coach encouraged her team to swing at anything near the plate. This is huge. There's nothing more dispiriting to a pitcher or a defense than a nonstop parade of walks, swinging at marginal pitches to get the ball in play. It gives the defense a chance to make outs. The Sluggers' offense came alive in the second half of the game, scoring 4 runs in the 3rd inning. and 5 runs in the fourth. The highlight was a 3 RBI double notched by Yarrow, a.k.a. Hit It to Tomorrow. I guess that's Yarrow's new nickname.
Love
I call
that.
Yarrow, what's a coffee-related nickname we could call this? Because I think that's the kid that gets a coffee when he hits a home run.
Oh, sure. Yeah. How about
Flat White?
Yeah.
No. What's a coffee name?
I don't know. I was going to say
Americano?
Triple brew Yarrow,
There you
but I
go.
don't know what a triple
Cold brew. How about
is.
cold brew?
Cold brew. Ooh,
How
because he's
about
like
cold
ice.
brew?
He's got cold brew
Yeah.
in his veins.
Yarrow, consider your new nickname being Cold Brew. Cold Brew. Alas, it was too little too late. Final score. You know what? I can't even read this because of the printing, and I think it's also kind of good because we didn't win. We lost to the Pit Vipers.
As one usually does when one is facing something called the Pit Vipers. One usually
Yes.
does not walk away from that with a victory.
No, unscathed.
No.
Then Coach Ben says that they were scheduled to play May 17th. The game was rained out. We've already covered that. Instead of an exciting game of baseball, I spent the day repainting woodwork in my home. Lord save me from what my life will become in the off season.
Oh, man. This man needs baseball more than us.
He sure does. Instead, we had to wait until Wednesday to play again. It's our third matchup with the Parkside Dominators again.
Oh, come on.
I feel like you kind of know going in against the team. We're called we call them the Junior Sluggers, but I think we're the Gators, right?
Oh, yeah. I think we're the subs, right? Going up. Wait, no? I can't remember.
Nope. There's a lot of jokes I want to make there that I won't during a child-related segment on
Good
the program.
reminder.
But yes,
Good reminder.
that wasn't me trying to
No,
low-key tell you anything, Andrew. We played the Dominators, one of the few teams we've beaten in the past. There's not much positive to say about this game. Weird Wednesday evening vibes and visibly tired players resulted in a low-key, error-prone game. The one highlight in the final inning, Armani, a.k.a. Light Speed. I feel like Coach Ben used part of that Saturday rainout to come up with a nickname for everybody.
Right.
He literally jumped in the air to tomahawk a pitch that was at least 3 feet above the strike zone. He ripped it into right field, and the moment he made contact, it was clear that Armani was not going to stop running. He made the turn at first, and like an unstoppable object, he disrupted the relay throw to the second baseman without stopping. He pivoted towards third, making the wide approach of a player who knows he's heading home. He crossed the plate before the infielders could even throw it to the catcher. Armani is widely acknowledged as the fastest player in the league. He's recently figured out how to use that speed to turn even weak contact into multi-base hits. Bright spot aside, final score. Also having trouble seeing this one, Andrew. Kevin can confirm. We also cannot. This is also not legible, this score. We'll just say not a W for our beloved
For some reason,
Junior Sluggers.
it's tear-streaked, and you can't quite make out what the final score was.
Yes, exactly. They're my tears. And
Yes.
So here we are with the final regular season game. So I guess the game that we're going to go see on Saturday is technically the postseason. This is the rematch of the rainout game with our favorite color mismatch team, the Orange Sox. Astute TBTL listeners will remember that in our first meeting, the Orange Sox were bizarrely wearing green socks. I'm pleased to report that they have since righted the ship and are now wearing bright, almost neon orange hosiery. Side note, that's your show title there. Bright, almost neon orange hosiery.
All right, fine.
Sure. Thanks. That's one less thing to do on this holiday. Thanks, Coach Ben. Bryson, a.k.a. Bulldog, took the hill for the Sluggers. Bryson's been one of our most solid pitchers all season. He doesn't overwhelm with speed, but he is a strikeout-throwing machine. Kept it up this game, keeping the ball over the plate, challenging hitters to put the ball in play, and trusting his defense to get outs. Began the game recording 2 quick outs. The Orange Sox strung together a series of hits. They gave up 3 runs in the inning. We pulled even in the bottom of the frame with singles from Bryson, Armani, and a fielder's choice by Nico, a.k.a. K-Rico, Nico K-Rico, and walks by Yarrow and Atlas, a.k.a. Cold Brew. In the second, Bryson again notched 2 easy outs before a series of errors, including 3 consecutive missed catches by our first baseman, netted the Orange Sox 5 runs. I like that Coach Ben is not naming the first base person on this because that's, that would be tough. Sounds like a tough inning for that person. That sounds like they pulled a real Dylan Moore. Was it Dylan Moore? Possibly. Did you see the end of the game yesterday, Andrew?
No, I did not. I heard, I think it was on in the car maybe, and I just heard some real disappointment. That's why we lost with some sort of a walk-off situation, I'm assuming.
And we nearly gave it away in the bottom of the 8th inning because we like to do this thing where we replace everybody in the infield at the same time, so no one's in a groove.
Yes.
And it's really smart baseball. It's real galaxy brain from Cafe Lago's favorite customer, Dan Wilson. And so you have J.P. Crawford, who has taken no reps at shortstop in the game, throwing to Dylan Moore, who's taken no reps at first base in the game. And guess what happens? The first ball that's hit to him, he underthrows Dylan Moore, who does not make the scoop, and the guy gets to second base, no outs. It's like, well, how could we have foreseen this happening? I don't know, 5 minutes around a baseball team, Dan? Anyway, back to the Sluggers. In the second, Bryson again notched 2 easy outs before. We're talking about the errors. We've talked about that. We don't need to dwell on it. The Sluggers got those runs back in the bottom of the inning, though. Hard-earned walks by Tommy, T-Bone, Wilder, the Wild Man, and Armani, along with a double by Saul and a single by Cold. Hey, there was a single by Cold Brew, which tied the game at 8. The seesawing continued in the third, with the Orange Sox scoring another 5 runs. Unfortunately, the Sluggers couldn't keep up with the scoring. Our bats went silent in the final inning, and we ended up losing. We lost by 6 runs. You wouldn't call this a pitcher's duel.
No, I was going to say, very high-scoring game, though. I mean,
16
they got
to
some
10.
Action.
The good news is we got 10 runs. The bad news is they got 16.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Now we're into Coach Ben's final thought. As a Little League coach with an overwhelmingly losing record, I have to find silver linings where I can. Here's the big positive from this loss, and I 100% promise that this actually happened. After the game, the opposing team's coach's wife told me that we were, quote, the classiest team they've played all year. Her words paraphrased, your kids are out there having fun. The coaches are cheering everyone on, including players on the other team. Well, Ben, that might be part of the problem. I wouldn't go too hard on that. You're not arguing balls with the umpire. I wish we could play you guys each and every week. I'll take some solace that the Sluggers are playing the game the right way, even if we aren't necessarily playing it well. That's like this podcast, Andrew. We're doing it right, even though we don't have very many listeners.
Although you do challenge a lot of balls and strikes.
I do.
As I'm chatting.
I do, absolutely.
Let's Google that.
That was a first timer last night. Dan Wilson getting tossed.
Oh, he did get
first time in his career.
Balls and strikes,
balls and strikes, and he was wrong. It was absolutely a strike. He was mad about a third strike call.
Yeah,
but in his entire playing career and managing career, he's never been.
Even as a player, he's never gotten ejected.
Yes.
Yes. Well, yeah, because he hasn't been a coach.
No, he was from all of his playing years. Wow. Dude was never thrown out of a game until last night. To wrap things up, thus ends the regular season for the Sluggers. We now enter the Tournament of Champions, a double elimination tournament among all the little leagues in the area. For all intents and purposes, our season record no longer matters at this point. The slate has been wiped clean. This is the playoffs, and anything can happen. Though shadows fall, hope's ember still glows, a flame that never truly goes. Coach Ben, signing off. To say it's I like that the regular season record gets thrown out, and you never know what these junior sluggers could do. Maybe with the inspiration of one of the team sponsors. I was about to say owners. That feels weird. Maybe the inspiration of one of the team sponsors and his girlfriend showing up to the game on Saturday will light a fire under these kids.
Isn't this the problem with the NBA, though? Now, I don't watch the NBA, so this is a real question. This isn't a commentary.
The Parkside Little League is too woke?
First of all, I do. That is exactly what I'm saying, and I appreciate you putting that fine point on it for me.
Thank you.
But also, there seems to be a lot of kind of old school basketball people complaining about the basketball season now, like that the players don't really get engaged until it's playoff time or near playoff time. That a lot of the regular season doesn't really add up to much. Is there any truth to this? Because I could be totally misinterpreting talk radio.
I bet you're interpreting it correctly. I'm so out of the loop on the NBA. I just don't know that discourse, but that sounds possible. I mean, I know that the whole question of in this playoffs, a lot of big name players have gotten hurt. Like Steph Curry hasn't been playing or wasn't playing, and Jason Tatum, a Boston Celtic, went down with a really gruesome injury in a game where he had 42 points. And the theory there was there's too many games. This is too much on the body. And so a lot of players then, rest a lot or they don't play. Like the second that the game is looks like it's not in question, they're not, there's a lot of trying to manage the amount of wear and tear on the bodies of these players.
Yeah.
But what I can say about the Junior Sluggers is that they have been resting this season, sometimes during games, and they are going to be so ready for the playoffs.
That's right.
I think I'm holding out high hope. Speaking of Little League events, Camaro, you spent how many games did you watch this weekend?
I only watched 3 games.
What?
Yeah, because my nephew's team they're actually pretty good, and they won their first 2, and then it was apparently it was only a 2-day tournament, and so the next day, since I guess their record was so good out of all the other teams, that they only had one more game and they lost it.
These kids are they pitching off of like a pitcher's mound and everything? It looks like the kind of baseball we think of as like Mariners baseball. What was the scene like there? Were there any parents getting? I'm not asking you to throw any of the parents from your nephew's team under the bus, but did you have some? Were there some pretty amped parents there?
Not on my nephew's team. All the parents there are pretty cool. The only one that was a little questionable was the coach on the last team we played, and I think they're from like British Columbia, and they were really good. And their coach nonstop yelled the entire time, and the ump had to come up and basically go like, "You're coming way too close to the batters. Stay back there and like calm down, dude."
Who's he yelling at? Do you mind me asking? Is he yelling at the umps?
He would do
Is
stuff
he
like this. Yeah, he'd all right. What would it be? It would be like, hey, Xander, choke it up and execute. He loved to execute. So he's like, so then if, he'd get in a situation where like, okay, pivot on this pivot to B. And and then he's just yelling execute all the time. And very loud and very annoying. And all the parents were not happy with him.
I mean, this is a whole thing with like umpires for youth sports now, is that they're having a hard time finding umps because and this is, I think, across all of the sports, the parents can get so kind of intense that it's like, it's really stressful to be an ump because, or an official of some kind, because you're going to get yelled at a lot. And it's just like, this is not worth $20 an hour or whatever.
Yeah, and this is like 12-year-old select team, so they're actually pretty good. It's like watching an actual game. Like I went to some of his games when he was younger, and it sounded like, no offense, some slugger stuff. A lot of sitting in the field looking for a 4-leaf clover kind of thing. So his earlier games were not great, but now they're really fun to watch.
Now let's get down to the heart of the matter. My friend Camaro Kev was more or less turned loose in the city of Vancouver a couple of nights. I was not able to come down and join you because of various scheduling conflicts. But you said night 1, was it an actual bar that was on the TV show Bar Rescue, or did you mean that like it's a bar that needs to be rescued?
It's a bar that needs to be rescued. So I was down here by myself. Anita was going to come along. We have a sick kitty at home, and we didn't want to leave. So Anita's mom's staying with us, and we didn't want to leave her alone with the cat. Yeah. So I ended up coming down solo. And, of course, the first night down here when everyone else is, getting ready for their game tomorrow, what do? I got to find some nightlife activities. And I found I don't want to name the place that I found, but there was a sports bar and just more of a, I guess it's a live music sort of venue. They had a little stage there and everything. So I get in there, and it's, pretty late in the night, and it's shocking how rundown this place is. And just, when you look around and you see like, hey, why not close those curtains where you're showing like where you're kind of like stacking food and whatnot. That I don't like to see behind the curtains of things like that. Yeah. Way too much of that stuff going on. And then a gentleman behind me just puked on the floor. Whoa. And they took a towel and just put it over the pile. And then one of the bartenders said, like, I'm not cleaning that up again, Michael. It's your turn, and it's your cousin.
Wait, so Michael is a customer?
Michael was someone who works there, but it was his cousin who apparently is a customer who ended up throwing up on the...
What time is this-ish?
I mean, it was late. This had to be probably like midnight, 12:30.
It was the yakking hour. So
sure, yeah. Oh, God.
And it was carpet.
Oh my God! Why
was it at least a loud print carpet, sort of like the carpet they used to have in the Excalibur? Where I once, when we were in Vegas, unfortunately threw up in the hallway, and I do feel like for me, something inside me shifted. ever so slightly towards a more of an empathetic model of life. And by that, I mean, we were there. It was like you, me, Kelly, the veteran, you know, the whole, probably Donnie Baseball, just the whole rogues gallery. And it was that hotel room that had 2 like twin beds maybe. So there was not enough beds for everyone to sleep in. So it'd be like a couple guys would be sleeping, a couple guys would be out carousing. Then you'd come in, and I feel like Kelly or somebody was like whipping my body like a blanket at one point. But I threw up in that hallway. And then the next day, and if I had been more mature or more with it, I would have, like, first of all, tried to deal with it myself. At the very least, called, you know, reported it.
Throw a towel over it at the very least.
You know, like Michael's cousin should have done. And but then I remember coming out the next morning, because also, by the way, this is called being like 23. I felt like $1 million the next morning. I was fine. I would be down for probably 6 months at a minimum these days if I did that. But I just remember coming out of the hallway and realizing it was totally gone. And instead of feeling kind of like good, like cool, you know, like someone took care of it, I thought, oh man, someone took care of that. Like that's somebody had to, and my bad decision making led to someone else having to have that experience of that. And I mean, you know, I'm not saying that I've lived a completely exemplary life since then, but I do remember that as being kind of formative. Like, try to not do things that are going to make someone else's life, particularly in a service position like that, just like way, way worse, you know? Or if you do, try to mitigate, you know, the problem. So that was night 1. Did you do anything fun last night?
No, last night, no.
Chilled out.
Just shut it down. And sorry I was a little late here. I got a late start at the checking out, and then also I needed to. This is so terrible. I needed to get cash out to tip. Speaking of the servers, of the housekeeping. I didn't have any cash. They don't have a cash machine there. You can't just charge it to your room. So I had to run to a bank really quickly, get some money out, and then I got on the road. So sorry.
I feel bad that I roasted you in the intro for being late, because that's a very reasonable reason to be late, and I salute that. John Hodgman said something once that really screwed me over, which was basically always tip the hotel housekeeping, which I was already doing. But what he said was, and if all you have is a 10 or all you have is a 20, just use that. Because I got to be honest with you, I was going more like loose bills for a while, you know, like I got 4 singles. That's almost 5. Or, I mean, a 5 would be no problem, but what I would never think to put down is a 20, because it's just like, that still feels like real dough to me. But he said basically, like, you can afford it to be $20. That would be a real day changer for that person. So now every time I'm checking out, if I look in my wallet and all there is a 20, now I hear it's like a ghost haunting me of this. It was probably a tweet or something that now makes me do that. So I'm glad to hear, though, that you were looking out for the person there at the old Best Western. That was nice. Of you.
Can I ask a follow-up question or two about these bars? So you mentioned it sounded like 2 bars, but then you described a scene inside 1 bar, or was it a mixture of a sports bar / live music venue?
There was 2 bars that were the closest bars to the hotel. One was I didn't go to this one. It was Kirkpatrick's Sports Bar.
Okay, that's one you didn't go to. So then you just went to the other one. I see. I wasn't sure if you were kind of hopping between the 2, if you were seeing some familiar faces or whatever. And then what? So it's midnight now. For you,
I will say that they had opinions on Kirkpatrick's there too. They were like, "Do not go there." And then I turn around, someone's puking on the floor here, and I'm thinking, I don't know. Kirkpatrick sounds pretty dope right now.
Okay, so if I know anything about Camaro Kev, you're just getting started around midnight. Like, I've invited you to hang out, and you've been like, yeah, I'll be there right around midnight. So you're probably not looking to end the night, but now you're in a bar where there's, let's just say, a live pile of something that is very unsavory, and it's not exactly being cleaned up in the best way. Do you stick around? Do you turn your back on that and just try to power through, or do you say, you know what, I'm gonna go watch DAZN in my hotel room?
Well, it was late in the night when it happened, so I got there late anyways, right? So and then I saw a gentleman who was battling some inner demons sitting at like one of the tables.
Oh, you did see me there.
And so it was behind me. I was sitting up at the bar. I met a nice older lady there. She was telling me about all the places, some good food trucks apparently over by where the ball field was. Harmony Sports Complex, I believe is what it was called, that we went to. So I didn't I didn't really pay attention. He was behind us, and then she turned around at some point. She goes, "Oh no, you know, Mike." I don't know what this gentleman's name was, but she knew
Mike's
who he
cousin,
was.
yeah.
Mike's cousin. She was like, "Oh, you know," and I turn around and I look, and that's when I see that there's a blanket, not a blanket, a towel and chunks underneath the towel.
And that's the solution.
And I was like, well, I was getting ready to leave anyways, so
Okay.
it kind of signed out.
I was just doing some quick Googling because I don't know a lot about the scene in Vancouver, Washington, but there used to be a place called the Elbow Room that was phenomenal. It would have been right up the three of ours alley. It was a diner, but then they had a bar, you know, in the back, kind of like a darkened bar, and it was amazing. But it is, as is the case with so many things like this, permanently closed according to the internet. Like if it was a good kind of a dive bar that we would like, there's a good chance that it's gone now because I just don't know. Maybe I don't know if the younger generation really goes towards that stuff as much. I was also wondering, Kevin, like you were talking about how you were kind of struck by how the place that you ended up at, the non-Kirkpatrick's, that it was so, you were like struck by how kind of rundown it was or whatever. Do you think our taste has changed as we've gotten older, or do you think, like, would that have always struck you as rundown, or is it because I'm just wondering myself, like on the occasion if I'm in a dive bar, which is not super frequent anymore, I think my tolerance for a certain kind of really divey bar has gone down. Like that used to be, I would like the divier the better, you know, give it to me. And now it's like, I kind of want to be somewhere where I'm not going to stick to the bar stool and stuff. I don't know. Is that the aging process?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing as I sat in there, and I was like, I love dive bars, but this is on another level. And they, when I was talking to, I think it was someone at the hotel, I said, they were like, where'd you go? And I told them, they're like, oh yeah, that place has been there forever, like forever. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe the dive bars that we go to, like in Seattle, I think they're still probably pretty well maintained just because they're in Seattle. Even like, does that make sense? I'll tell you, Vancouver, I've never been down here. I mean, I've driven through. It's massive. Yeah. Like, old towns at like one end, I was nowhere near that. I was out in like suburbia.
You might have been in like Hazeldale or some kind of a thing. You know,
it was Vancouver proper, but you're probably right. It's just one of those things where it was like, you know, there's a Carl's Jr. was one of the closest things. A Carl's Jr. They just opened a Shake Shack that was on the corner, right next to Fred Meyer. It was very much like, you know, kind of just like 99 in Seattle, basically.
Did you peep that In-N-Out that's going in by the Costco?
I did. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, they kind of cover the sign, but you're like, you know exactly what that is. Yeah, boy, every talk of the town down here too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a line for days when that thing opens up. So anyway, well, Kevin, thank you for stopping by. We're kind of on a short timeline. Andrew's got a busy Memorial Day. He's got to march in 2 parades. Then he has to stand at attention as an American flag is held up, but while he has a slingshot in his back pocket.
Yes.
So we call it Rockwelling, and he's going to be doing it all day today. So we've got to. And I actually have to go get on an airplane. I'm flying to watch. Would a non-patriotic person be flying to our nation's capital today, Andrew? That's what I ask you.
I don't know. What do you got planned? What are you doing at the Capitol?
Protesting. No, I'm getting out there because on Wednesday I'm going to be. Oh man, check this out. Well, I'm doing this TV story about Metallica, so I'm interviewing Metallica, who I've already been interviewing a bunch. They're playing a show in Landover, Maryland. Check out who the bill is. Can you think of 3 bands that I might be less aligned with musically and spiritually?
Hoobastank.
Yeah. Is there a Pantera involved?
There's a Pantera.
Okay, nice.
And there is this. I don't know if there's no way you would get this, but the bass. Now I know this. The bass player, Mike Trujillo for Metallica. He used to be in this other band, which is a big, like metal kind of hardcore band that is also playing. So it's Pantera, Metallica, and
Sepultura.
Ooh, what a solid guess! Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh wow.
What a bill in Landover, Maryland.
Suicidal Tendencies is in that genre. I didn't know them that well. For some reason, I always had them being more like punky. I didn't know that they were kind of in that metal genre.
Like maybe it's maybe it's a big tent.
I could be and I could be totally wrong. I'm just saying I don't know about this world.
Some people will probably clarify, but anyway. So yes, we're all going to skedaddle. What do you have going the rest of the day? You going to go home and and just try to enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day?
I'll be on the road, so that'll be fun. Yeah. I've been stopping at various vintage video game places along my way down and on my way back up. So that's man, in Chehalis, a really cool used electronic place that I stopped into. Like one of those places where this guy's like, I'm a hoarder with electronics. I might as well open a business, and it's just piles of.
By the way, my grandkids are going to take this all away unless I turn this into a store.
Why is that one doctor from Hoarders here? Forget her name. Lady with the blonde hair. She has like a French name, like Jeannie Falreau. There was a guy next to my dad's shop on Aurora who had that exact thing. It was called Radio Steve's Old Technology Shop, and it was all just like vacuum tubes, and you know what I mean. And he was a clearly like. Kind of, I would say he had a loose grip on mental health, but also could like probably build you he would get out his oscilloscope and build you a radio on the spot from parts. So he had this talent, but it was also just like this ramshackle place. It was awesome. All right. Well, enjoy your trip back. Drive safe. Andrew, thank you for your help today.
Yeah, thanks. This was fun. And I just want to remind everybody we're going to listen to Jeremy Merrill, today's dazzling donor, playing a little piano music. Of course, everybody knows this is the song that Celine Dion sang at the opening of the Olympics last year, or at the last games, I should say. So we're going to go out listening to that.
All right. And we'll be back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio for you. I'll be in D.C. I hope you can all join us. In the meantime, have a great Monday. Have a great Memorial Day. Please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.